Hello, Idrisu here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I am going to speak to you on a very, very interesting topic: how to hear God's voice. God speaks to us all the time. God do not speak to specific or special people. There are no special people that God speaks to them. God speaks to every humanity. Because in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve constantly communicated with God. So are we today. But remember, when Adam and Eve sinned, or when they ate the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, they hid from God. So we are the people, or we are those who are hiding ourselves from God. It's not God who is hiding himself from us. God did not drive us away, we withdrew from him. Now, God is constantly knocking at the door and speaking to us. He is constantly whispering his melodious sound into our ears, but we cannot hear him. Now, how do we hear God? We cannot induce God. We cannot force God or entice God to speak to us. As I said, he's already speaking to us. But we can induce ourselves, or we can make ourselves to understand or hear him and understand him. So the responsibility is on us to position ourselves in such a way that we can hear God. We shouldn't try to entice him, to force God to talk. As I said, he's already talking. He's already speaking. We have to put ourselves in the right frame and position to hear him and understand him. So, as I said, I use the way you can induce yourself. There's some actions and things you need to do that will make you be able to hear God. God does not speak to us from outside us, but from within us. The God in you is the one who speaks to you. So most of the times, we have this God in us speaking to us, but we are looking for a strange voice coming from outside us, screaming our names and telling us wonderful stuff. But the God in us, who is so close to us, who is so interested in our affairs, we are so detached from him, and we are stretching our arms and stretching ourselves to touch the God outside us, who is far away from us. That is why we can't hear him. The God in you is constantly ministering unto you. He's constantly guiding you. He's constantly giving you clues. He's constantly counseling you, comforting you, constantly advising you, constantly directing you, but you can't hear him. You can't hear him. The big point is the God in us speak to us. Simple. So begin to search for the God in you. Begin to reconnect to the God in you. And the God in you will speak to you like the spring of water that springeth from the earth and nourishes the body. Now, there are many different ways that God speaks to people or to us. He speaks to us in dreams, very, very important way. He speaks to us in visions, very, very important, very similar to dreams. And he speaks to us through intuition or discernment. Okay? Now, this media of communication must be mastered. dreams, visions, intuition, or discernment. The Bible calls discernment or intuition as the opening of the eye of your understanding. Now, intuitive knowledge is so pure, so undiluted, that it can be trusted. Many people who claim God has spoken to them receive this message through intuition. We have a telepathic feature, a feature in us that can pick signals from the universe and from the spiritual world. This telepathic nature of us draws knowledge, draws information from the divine creator all the time. But we are too noisy that we can't understand him. Now, the big point is this. The only way to understand God or to hear God is to be silent. You are too noisy. You are too chaotic. You are too stressed. You are too much under pressure. Even in your prayer, it's like you are fighting. God does not speak to people who are too jittery, people who are too chaotic, people who cannot be silent for a minute. When you speak to God in prayer, expect him to speak back to you and be ready. Position yourself in the quietness of the mind. Let the mind be so quiet. No thinking about your children, your family, no, at a point in your life, every day, you must have a time. It can just be 5 minutes, it can be 2 minutes, it can be 3 minutes. That time that your mind is very quiet. It can be your prayer time, prayer moment. It can be your meditation moment. It can be your quiet time moment. This is how you hear God. He will whisper to you through the inner voice, the intuitive voice, the voice that brings ideas, the voice that brings comfort, the voice that brings understanding, the voice that brings advice. God richly bless you. Share this message, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. Bye-bye.